feed.
Hey, Jan, are you there?
Yeah, hi Jeff. How you doing?
Fine, how's it going?
Oh, pretty good. It's still overcast. It's still winter.
It's
How
still
you
winter.
doing?
Yes, we had this morning we had snow a
Oh, you
little bit. We
did?
were like at the snow line, and then the snow line went up, and so we had rain.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, down here in the Rhone Valley, it's just rain. We're not getting snow, but
Yes, that's the downside of France.
yeah, yes, yes. Well, you mean after California, Southern
Exactly
California.
after California, but anyway, you
Yeah.
wanted to add something from last week.
Yeah, last week we ended up talking about bread, baguettes. Their baguettes being, the French's priority. And we also talked about getting meat out of a machine, which I thought was
Right,
pretty funny.
that was pretty
Yeah,
funny.
and I realized that just right here in the little village where I live, right on the, kind of the round point, they've just opened a new commercial center, and haven't really stopped in there. But I mean, for us, it's a strip mall, really.
Right.
Strip malls are getting big here. But there's a patisserie shop, and there's a new bakery, and there's a butcher who actually this butcher. And I didn't think about this last week because I haven't really. It's brand new, and I haven't really discovered it yet. But he has a drive. He
Yeah, like a
has a
drive-in, a drive-through.
he has a drive-through window that you can purchase your meat and just stay in your car and drive through, which,
You gotta take a photo. You gotta go. You gotta get your camera.
I will. I'll take a picture of me in the window talking to the butcher. But then my husband said, well, let's just stop there, and because they do have a Boulangerie de Marie, which is a chain, and they do have a really good bread I like. So anyway, we stopped, and when I went into the boulangerie, he said, I'm going to go check out the butcher. And it turns out this butcher, he also has a restaurant right there. And what you can do is, he's got, I don't know, quite a few tables. Is you can go in, you can pick the meat that you want, like let's say I want a, steak, or I want this kind or whatever, and they will grill it for you and serve it to you at lunch.
Wow, that's
So,
pretty good.
yeah, we're in a little village. I mean, we're close to the bigger town of Montélimar, but, we're in an axe enough where in summer we get a lot of traffic through here. So, but they've just opened like a month or two ago. And when I was in the boulangerie, so I see all these people waiting, and I walked in and I said, is this where the line is, because there was all these people waiting. And they said, no, it's, go in the other door. So I go in the other door, and they have this great cereal bread, which I like because I can get it sliced, and they have a really good brown bread. So I get my bread, and I'm wondering, what are all these people, waiting for? There was like 15, and these people kept coming in, and I heard that finally they were asking, they wanted to buy baguettes, and they were still cooking. I mean, how they go through a couple,
Right.
I don't even know, sequences of bread baking during the day. And all these people were, the baguettes weren't ready yet. They were still in the oven, and they were going to be coming out. And all these people were waiting for baguettes. And I walked out, and I said to Stefan, I said, it's so true. The French and their baguettes are their priority. The whole front window is full of all kinds of other breads, but no baguettes. And
that's funny because it's really good. I've had warm bread. It's excellent.
yeah. Oh, from this bakery?
But I don't know about this bakery, but in general, I've had bread that's come out of the oven from a bakery.
Oh, yeah.
And it's warm bread, man. My God.
Yeah. But let's get some butter on there.
That's what I keep like. Next time, I gotta take butter, man. I gotta take some butter. So we're talking about food this week. We're talking about food in this edition.
Yeah.
And your father-in-law, you sent me photos, and we will we will put the photos on the page.
Yeah.
And it's just interesting. What does your father-in-law do with the food? He makes a certain dish, right?
Yeah. Well, he used to be a butcher a long time ago. He was always involved in food. He ran different restaurants and had different co-ops way in the past after World War II. But so he just loves to cook, and he makes these things that I was trying to tell you about that I have Have you seen them in the market since or not?
What are they called?
They're called Caillettes. It's let's say Caillette. Caillette.
Yeah, Caillette. No, I had never heard of them before.
Yeah, yeah. And I think they're kind of a specialty of Ardèche, which is, a department down here, which is right next to the Drôme, which is where I am. But I think you can buy them pretty much, throughout France and, kind of the butcher sections. But I think that they were kind of made from, they're based from Ardèche, this region. And so he makes a whole bunch of them. And I know the pictures are kind of fun. Actually, we thought they got lost, and then I was so glad when he found them, because he buys a huge stock of pork. And then there's a lot of herbs involved. If anybody really wants the recipe, I can give it to them. But you buy a lot of different herbs, fresh parsley, fresh chives. I think there's some Swiss chard in there, and there's some green from leeks.
And did you find out what the alcohol is?
I didn't. He called us, and we can put that on the website too.
We'll put it on the website.
Stephen said, well, maybe it's a cooked wine. I said, well, there's a big difference between, cooked wine and, like a Porto and a Armagnac. But I will find out, because the bottle's in every picture. And he didn't know that I was going to talk about Les Caillettes. He just, because he was so, he's 85 years old, and he was so excited he just bought a new meat grinder. I thought it was just really cute how he set up all the different ingredients. But what you do is then you put the pork, and it's all the kind of the intestines. I mean, it's not the real expensive parts of the pork, and you put it through the meat grinder with the herbs. That's the whole thing, and you really get it mixed in. And you add olive oil and some of this alcohol and probably salt and pepper. Like I said, I can get the exact recipe. And then he makes these little balls, and then you can see in the picture how he's got them all spread out on the table.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Linoleum table with the neon light.
Bouncing off of the...
Yeah, it's the old France.
And then you sent me a photo of a dish. Was that it?
Yes, yes. So what you do, the Caillettes, because then he wraps them in kind of the skin of the intestines, which you can buy at the butcher shop. I can't remember what they're called. And it's kind of just like a net that goes around. And then he bakes them. He pre-bakes them. And what you do is you serve them a bit warm on a bed of lettuce with just a little bit of olive oil drizzled over it. Of course. And I added some just some really finely chopped and just a little tiny bit of red onion, just to kind of excite.
Give it that je ne sais quoi.
Yeah. Well, actually, you know why I did that? Because we have talked. His father loves to cook, and he cooks so much with lots of oil and lots of cream and butter, like I said, and salt. And we just always, I don't want to use the word complain, but we keep saying, gosh, just cut down a little bit. So he cut down so much on the Caillette that there's hardly any salt and there's no fat at all. So we did add the olive oil and the onion just to kind of spice it up a bit. But it's a really different kind of meat because you've got a lot of herbs in there.
Ah, yeah, it is. That sounds pretty cool. That sounds really good. Yeah. It's
good warm, just on a bed of lettuce. And
yeah, I think the photo you sent me that's what it was.
Yeah, with some homemade quiche.
Ah, the homemade quiche. Yes, you have to have homemade quiche.
Yeah, that makes a meal. That was homemade quiche. Yeah. Yeah.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good because my father-in-law, the last time I saw him, he gave me walnuts.
That's what you were saying.
He gave me walnuts, and walnuts from the farm that he owns.
How many trees do they?
So it's like the fat of the land.
Right.
He picks them up off the ground.
How many trees do they have?
That's a good question. They have enough for about 15 kilos, so about 30 pounds of cracked walnuts.
Oh, wow.
I think there's probably 5 to 10 trees.
Okay.
Very good question.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and they do this, and it takes a long time. It just, I mean, I don't know if you've ever done walnuts, you've ever broken walnuts. If you want to have any sort of a large quantity, it takes a long time. And what they do is that they give us these to eat, and they said, well, you should always, in the winter, you need to eat walnuts every day. Why not? And one of those kind of wise tales. It's probably good for you. But they make walnut oil, and God,
right.
it's really, really good. The walnut oil is just excellent. I mean, there was one year, a couple of years ago, it was excellent.
Yeah,
would you put it that on warm bread would be really cool.
Oh yeah, and I've had good walnut oil before. I haven't had it in a long time, but I do know what you're talking about.
Yeah, walnut. It's just walnut oil. It's not. The thing is, though, is it's a bit. It's kind of like salad dressing or something. You can't. I don't know. The walnuts are pretty good. We have walnuts with the endive, with the.
Right. And blue cheese.
Yeah. No, we haven't done the blue cheese. We don't eat much blue cheese. I didn't think about doing the blue cheese. Yeah, that would be really good too.
Yeah, if you put a little bit of Roquefort or blue cheese with the endives and the walnuts.
Right. My wife does, and we make the vinaigrette with the Dijon mustard, mustard and cooking oil.
Yeah,
that's really good.
But the walnut oil, I think if it's fresh, it's really good. But I think it's an oil that goes rancid really easy.
Oh, does it? Well, that's a good question because the bottle I have next to me is a couple years old.
Well, you can. You know what? You'll be able to tell just by smelling it. Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
I'm sure your wife.
That's a good question. I didn't think it would. I'll ask Mary France.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, but how does he just press the walnuts? Is that it?
No, they take it to some place. There's a locally, there's somebody, and I think what they basically do, they bring it to somebody who does it, and I think that it really takes a lot of walnuts, and I think sometimes they're short, and the guy puts it in. They either pay in money or they have to pay in the walnuts or the oil. And I don't know if they're going to do that this year or not.
Right.
I know that there's a place where I live here, an old mill. They do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I saw them. It's really pretty amazing. The pressure on the walnuts to get the oil out is pretty amazing. And I think they have to heat it. It's a pretty amazing process, actually.
Yeah.
You don't think about it.
Yeah, and I just read something on CNN that almonds were really the big kind of thing, and I do eat a lot of almonds, and I don't eat as much bread. But walnuts, they're talking more and more about having some walnuts every day, and there's something, and I'd have to find the article again, something in the walnut that we don't have in other nuts that was really good. I
think most of the stuff, it's if we find it on the land and it's not processed.
Right. That's it. Yeah. And Grenoble and that whole region, Isère, is how most towns or places in France have specialties. The specialty of Grenoble is the walnut.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they have a lot of walnut groves when you come into Grenoble, and when you go to all the pastry shops. I know this because when I first landed in France, it was in Grenoble. I lived there for the first year. All the pastry shops have they make a kind of a walnut paste. One of their famous little gâteaux in the pastry shops is made with walnuts. It's kind of their specialty.
I didn't know that. I have to check that one out.
Yeah. Next time you're in Grenoble.
I will.
Yeah, you'll have to check that out. Yeah.
Anyway.
But I also did you hear about Airbnb? They're talking a lot about real estate in Paris. They talked about it again on the news today that prices are really going down in Paris. That was on the news today.
Well, they're going down because of the city cracking down on the short-term rentals. Is that what they said?
No, yesterday they talked about the city cracking down, and you and I are kind of up on that. But that the owner of Airbnb was going to be. They're based in San Francisco or up north in California. He was going to be in Paris, and when I was telling Stefan last night, he said, well, Paris is one of the most visited cities in the world, which, we know that. But then today on the news, they were talking real estate again, and they were just saying that the price in Paris has gone down so much for what you paid a couple years ago for a 2-bedroom. You can get a 4-bedroom, or not 4-bedroom, a 2-piece room, or 2 pièces.
Right. So, which is basically a 2-room apartment.
Right, a F1, I think they call it, for a 4-room. So I think this one lady was looking at a 4-room place, which would be kitchen. I don't think they count the kitchen.
No, they don't.
As a room. So it would be living room, bedrooms, dining room. Anyway, it was about 250,000 euros. So, prices have really gone down in Paris. So then it started just saying, it's a good time to buy. And if you can wait, they'll go down again in a couple of years.
Did they say why prices had gone down?
Well, the interest rates are down. And product isn't moving as much. There was such a big boom. I mean, this is how the market swings. I mean, when you had prices. I mean, I have people in real estate down here that were telling me they were loving it because they were making a lot of money because they just kept selling stuff way above price, range that they'd ever seen. And then just really nervous knowing the bottom's going to fall out at some point.
Right.
Everything's got a platform. And it took a while for the pendulum to start swinging the other way, but it is. I've heard more and more on the news all the different, there was so much building going on, and there's only so many people that can rent. I mean, Paris is a little different. It's a totally different market because it's, your tourist center, and I know you're going to have probably more information on that maybe in the next couple weeks. But I just found it interesting. They're talking.
Yeah, that's it. No, it is. It is interesting. That is interesting that the price of property. So I wonder how much it has gone down. That would be interesting to know how much it's gone down.
Yeah, because they talked about your area too on the news.
Oh, did they talk about Savoie or the Alps?
Yeah. It's gone down 2.5. Although, we'll talk about that offline.
We'll talk about that. We'll do a thing on real estate at some point in time.
Well, yeah, we could. We could gather some good information. And then one last little thing I wanted to mention. Did you hear on the news about the drones?
Yes, the drones flying over Paris. I did.
Over Paris.
On the Facebook page. Yes, they're in Paris, and yes, I did. And they don't know who's doing it.
There was it was caught flying over the American Embassy.
Yeah, American Embassy. They don't know if it was the same drone, if it was different ones. I think that what I heard, though, is that in terms of a drone doing damage, it would not do a lot of damage. It could hurt a person. I don't know if but putting a bomb on a drone, you're not going to get a lot of bang for your buck. But they can look at things. Maybe the embassy. I don't know. Whoever it is, you don't know who it is and what they're up to. But it does. It's one of those things.
Yeah, I just heard about it. It was caught flying over the Eiffel Tower last night again at 3 in the morning. And that was my question to you. What could it do? I mean, can it take secret pictures?
Well, it could take pictures. Yeah, it could take pictures. What I heard, because the French info had all this in, and there was a guy from a drone specialist or something. He said you're not going to do a lot of bang for your buck with a drone, but you can. Look, and he said that is possible. And that has happened in the past.
Yeah.
For reconnaissance.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, it just seems kind of funny. We have drones flying over Paris.
Yeah, drones. I want to buy a drone. I'm going to buy a drone, but I won't fly. It's illegal too. That's the other thing. In France they have very strict regulations. It's totally illegal. But obviously it's not going to make much difference. But
yeah. I didn't know that.
Illegal.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah.
All right.
Well, tomorrow I'm heading off. We won't be live, but I'm going to head off to the truffle market down here in the south, and I'll tell you more about it next week.
Good. We want to know what video.
Yeah. I've got a few fun people to talk to and some fun things to look at, and so I'll let you know about all of that next week then.
All right. See you, Jan. Bye-bye.
Ciao. Bye.